It's the Dreamscape.
Welcome back, dreamers, to Indie Synergy Exchange, your podcast for all things indie art and creation. I am your host, Tanner Giese, also known as Number 2 Pencil Man and owner of Tanner's Tales Entertainment. And joining me tonight, we have my wonderful co-hosts. We have Katie Giese, my wife, author and poet. And then we also have, once again, Andromeda, aka Rachel, the artist, musician, poet, and writer, all in one. It is good to be back. We are here doing a shorter episode tonight, actually, because the crew's not all here. We're missing my best bro, Frae. Frae's work schedule, man. No bueno. No bueno. Frae's work. Let him do this. Or else I'm going to come to Royal Farms and I'm going to... I don't know. Well, anyway, before we get into this episode of where we're going to be talking about what it means to be indie, I also want to take this moment to just briefly say thank you guys for all your support on the podcast so far. This is going to be episode 13, so we've had 12 other episodes before this that have been fantastic. We've had amazing indie guests on that are all different. They all specialize in different fields of indie creation, and if you haven't checked those out, please go back. We've had quite a variety, from writers to musicians to comic book creators to a doctor and a clown. The list goes on, and we are probably going to have so many more in the future, so definitely check them out. If you like the podcast, please be sure to show your support by liking, commenting, subscribing. All that fun stuff helps us build this platform so that we can help other indie creators get their stuff out into the world more, so we can give them center stage in the spotlight, and so the world can just discover something new and cool. So thank you guys for your support. Please be sure to do that, and without further ado, with our crew of 3 today, let's get into the topic at hand. What does it mean to be indie? Do you two want to start us off?
Why don't you start, Tanner?
Alrighty. So,
I'm gonna say I actually had a thought.
oh, go for it.
Okay.
Katie, start us
I
off.
should have said something.
Do it.
Do
it.
Yeah.
Spotlight.
When we were talking about what we were going to talk about this episode, I'm really new. I'm the newest of the 4 to the indie scene. I'm like barely starting my own content creation dream, which that in of itself is very new for me. So right now, well, I think what it always will mean to me to be indie at its core is just the opportunity to reach your fullest potential as a creative being, which is just so important to me. And I didn't realize how important it was to me until very recently in my life. If I feel like that opportunity is being challenged or squelched or constrained in some way, it really affects me. And also on the opposite end, if I feel like I have the opportunities to release my creativity, I'm so much more myself. And I only, just had this deeper realization about all of this literally within the last, probably several days. So yeah, I just wanted to say that because I don't know as much yet about all the logistics, of, the networking with other indie artists and such to reach my goals. And I'm happy to learn all that. But as far as from a personal, holistic perspective, that's what it is for me.
Well
Hold
said.
on a second. I don't have it up when I need it. There we go. That's the first time you started us off, and I'm super Glad you did.
I'm so proud of myself.
That was awesome, Katie.
Yeah, you have
Oh,
amazing thoughts.
really?
Hmm.
Now, let's hear more. You want to keep
Thanks.
going?
That's all I have for now.
Oh, I definitely want to give you more opportunities to speak, so whenever you want to, just let us know.
Okay.
Yeah, piggybacking off of her. Like, being indie, I feel, gives us greater control over our creative abilities. We don't have to answer to different people being like, well, I don't like this. You got to change it for it to get out there. And we can just kind of do it. It gives us freedom. I think being indie means freedom in the creative field. And when we have that freedom, it allows us to, like you said, reach our fullest potential, put our full self into our creation and throw it out there, whether it receives good praise or negative responses. It still gives us the freedom to do that, and ultimately gives our artwork more power to impact the world all around, I'd say. And we get to do it on our terms, as we want to, whenever we feel like the creative urge is there. And also, being indie, like, people might say you don't get anywhere, but I would argue we actually have some of the best creative resources being indie compared to the labels and publishers that are more mainstream. So I think being indie means being free to create, and that is my definition of being an indie creator.
Yeah,
What about you?
I mean, I think, you think of the word indie, it comes from the word independent, right? So I mean, when I think of indie, always what I think of first. And I agree. It's all about the freedom. And it's funny because I was looking up authors who are self-published. Like Virginia Woolf, one of my favorite
Hmm.
authors, self-published. And so is Margaret Atwood, who wrote The Handmaid's Tale. And, that's a very widely known story. And there's several other authors and several other books that are all self-published. And the thing that's so appealing about it is that you don't have, like you said, Tanner and Katie, like you don't have somebody who's hovering over your shoulder saying, I want to cut this paragraph and this is
Mm,
partially mine now, and there's so many studios that take, let's say, 90% of your royalties, the profits of your royalties. And I think that personally, we're going to see a shift in culture where indie is
mhm,
becoming more acceptable and more widely held. And I think we see that even in the music industry where there's independent directors, independent works that are popping up every so often. And you have that, like with like Mike Flanagan series. I mean,
mm,
he does a lot of different genres, and well, his genre is horror, but he does a lot of different storylines and it's all from his mind. He has complete creative control. And when you have something like Netflix that's willing to platform these independent directors, then why not? I mean, why not explore that horizon of, have these new creative minds that aren't being tampered with and aren't collaborating all the time? I mean,
mm,
so many studio songs are written with, let's say, five different people. It's absolutely crazy. And a lot of it's like, hey, I wrote this song. Do you want it? And they'll pass it along to Rihanna or Ed Sheeran or whoever else. And I don't know. For me, that's less genuine. And for
mm,
me, yeah, like you said, it's all about the freedom and it's all about the authenticity. And I just don't think there's a lot of authenticity in something that's kind of produced in a factory style
mhm.
with a group of people.
Yeah, it's definitely seemed to lose its spark over the years. And I feel like one thing too, to the indie collaboration aspect, indies that collaborate, they get a totally different feel than the process that you were just describing. I feel like if two indie creators get together and they're fully free and authentic to be and create what they want together, there's
Hmm.
more power behind a joined collaboration like that than something that's been passed along through, I don't know how many hands. Some songs go through like five or six writers before they are complete. And to me, I feel like that's a little overkill for music. Like, one song to be written by like six people. Like, I can
Yes.
see maybe like two, maybe three artists that collab that are going to do like different parts in the song, all kind of coming together to create it. And that has like a totally different feel. But
Hmm.
when you pass it along that, and then you get a different singer to just like sing it,
Hmm.
I don't know. It is different, and I feel I feel like that's one of the advantages that the indie field has over that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is that like I myself never collaborate with artists in terms of music. I don't understand how that even works. Like I've
Hmm.
had so many people who try to collaborate with me and I have no concept of how to work with other people with a song. And maybe that works for some people, but it doesn't work for me. And the
Hmm.
thing is having the option of doing one or the other. Like there's some people that like to work in a band, and it's like, hey, I have this great hook, can you write a bass line for it, like can you take your instrument and contribute to the melody of the song this way, and it all kind of comes together naturally that way. But like I think it's just the option itself, it's just not there anymore,
Hmm.
especially in the music industry. And you do have these, I think I'm thinking specifically of movies. You do have occasionally a director who has carte blanche. Like I think Chris Nolan is one of those people that has carte blanche over his work. And he's, super famous. He's super successful. And you have Robert Eggers, who did Nosferatu, and
Hmm.
he's famous. And, why is it that the studio is so reluctant to trust a creative mind? I think that's what it is, because you can have some people in the mainstream who are getting their voice out there and getting their art out there, but it's not very common. And, I would argue that if you gave any independent artist the budget that these studios give to these films, the movie is going to be just as successful and just as quality, if not better, than
Yeah.
what you would have in a studio, because you have somebody who's putting their whole life into their art. It's not just
Yeah.
like I just want a paycheck. It's like this is my soul that I'm putting out there. And I think a lot of people they mistake indie artists with like being a little campy, but
Mm.
that's because they don't have the budget. And they're never going to have the budget if people don't open themselves up to this new kind of art. They're never going to be able to grow their art without people who are willing to give them the chance,
Yeah.
and I mean it's funny, you go on to Etsy and I got Anthony, my boyfriend, a leather bag for Christmas, and I initially got one from like this really highly reputed leather store, and it wasn't as nice, and so I sent it back and I got something from Etsy from somebody who made it themselves.
Hmm.
It's like I think people are starting to realize actually there can be a lot of quality in people who are investing their time and their energy into something that they love. It's not just like coming from a factory.
Yeah, I like what you just brought up too, because I feel like the general stigma around indie is these people have such low budget,
Yeah.
low quality things, and
Mm.
it's kind of like we the deck's been stacked against us in a way.
Right.
We have the mainstream, which is well established. It's been around for a while. It's kind of like an immovable mountain, it seems, to so many creators, because it's like this is established, we can trust this. There's that element of, well, it's been here longer, but then that also seemed to have let them get to a point now where they just don't care. Where
Hmm.
indie people, they might have low budget, but they're still putting everything that they can into what they can to
Right.
make their dream come true. And like you said, if we were given the budget, oh yeah, we'd probably be thinking up new ideas. But then again, if that much freedom was given to the indies, and if the indies got as big as the mainstream, that would threaten the system that's already there.
Right.
And that doesn't, they
That
don't like,
excites
yeah,
me.
they
That's
don't,
what excites me every
yeah.
time.
Are you coming alive?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, this movement is definitely coming. It's because they've gotten to a point in the mainstream where they just kind of got stale and stagnant. They're like,
Yeah.
we're just gonna reproduce this stuff now, and we know that you're gonna just feed into it, and now people are starting to get tired of that.
Yeah.
And actually, this is a good thing. This past weekend, I was at Super Jersey Comic Expo in New Jersey at what was it, Jackson, New Jersey, in the Dome. It's a really cool inflatable building thing. I don't know how it all works, but it's super cool. And this is the first time I've ever been to a Comic Con where the whole artist alley was a majority of indie comic creators and novel people. It was every row had at least three or four indie comics, and if I had like money, I would have bought every single one's works because
Mhm.
there were so many. I had never seen so many indie creators in one spot. Like you get the artist alley people, and there were they make the prints and they kind of replicate other people's art and they sell it in a way that's their own style. And sure, there's a market for that. But I like seeing when there's the original ideas of the indies because I that's just my thing. I've been supporting indies since 2012, I think. Back when I first went to my first Comic Con, I picked up an indie book and I was just like, this is pretty good. Like I could get Marvel and DC at any comic book store I went to, but to me, whenever I went to the Comic Cons, I went for the indies because I'm like, this is my opportunity to see these things. And back in 2012, they didn't have near as many resources as we do now.
Right.
Like there's so many more resources for these things. Like we can get multiple publishers now for indie creations. There are multiple platforms that we can stream on. Back then that was just like when it was really starting, when people were really starting to split, and they're like, well, we have all these ideas. And I'm sure it's been even longer than that, but that's when I started to notice it, being like a high schooler, and I was just like, these stories are great, they're just as good as the mainstream, if not better. And they introduce so many new ideas, so many new original storylines. Even if the stories kind of go parallel to what's already out there in the mainstream, there's a fresh new take on it, there's new life to the creation, and it's just generally more cared for. And so flash forward now, I'm at this con, and this is the first time since I started my own entrepreneurial journey with Number Two Pencil Man being out that I've seen so many indie creators in one place. Like there had to have been over 60% of the artist alley was an independent author, creator, comic book person.
Hmm.
It was crazy. And like I said, if I had money, I'd have supported every single one of them
Hmm.
because I love to do it. And it just goes to show the time is coming. Indies are starting to realize. I think a shift happened maybe back in 2020, especially, which really like kickstarted. Everybody was stuck at home. Everybody started to think about, well, hey, well, if we're stuck at home, we might as well do something that we enjoy. So people started to create their dreams, started to manifest, and now it's like there's a whole bunch of people with it. And they're like, all right, well, let's just get together and make it work. And the mentality is there. The shift is happening, and yeah, we're about due for another counterculture movement where it's
Hmm.
like, all right, the mainstream's getting stale. Let's jump over to all these people. And when that happens, the scale's going to tip and it's going to be in the indies' favor. So,
Yeah.
yeah, there's like the indie community is great. They take so much care into their creations. You talk to any indie person,
Mm.
and myself included, and we'll tell you all about our passion behind our project. We'll be like, we'll spring to life. It's like there's a life that just bursts forth from all indie creators when you talk about their projects, when you ask them about their stories and their dreams. And that's what I love, and that's what I want to help like build this platform for. Going back to what our goal is as an indie collaboration here, we want to build a platform for people to be able to share this passion, because that passion will spark more passion, and it's like the domino effect. It goes
Hmm.
and then everybody out there is creating things and believing in themselves again. And you don't get that in the mainstream. In fact, the mainstream oftentimes comes against indie creators and still creates that illusion that indie creators are powerless and they can't get anywhere. There's a lot of obstacles that an indie creator goes through.
Yeah.
And yeah, I actually wanted to see what you thought about some of that because I know you were talking about, there's obstacles. So what do you think are some of the main obstacles, Katie and Rachel?
Kitty, you want to go first?
I mean, I'm not very well versed in it. I really don't know if I could say too much, beyond like anything general. Uh, but yeah, it just seems like the mainstream has a monopoly going on.
Hmm.
Um, just so much control.
Yeah.
Mm, and it's just, it's okay. I don't know any of the, famous artists, or even if we want to include actors in there. I don't know them personally. It's just harder sometimes to be able to really believe that they're in it just for the love of whatever the art is
Mm.
and not just money and fame.
Right.
It's so
Right.
hard to um like you don't really know. I mean, unless you like knew them personally. And I think they are out there, but it just feels like so many people they might start out full of life for their art in the mainstream setting, and
Hmm.
then maybe not everyone. I know there's always exceptions, but it seems like a lot of people at some point they end up like getting caught up in these motives of like money and fame that like kind of slowly suck the life out of them in a way. And again, Rachel, I just was thinking about this the whole time we were all talking. Just the control, like
Yeah.
you have to basically, yeah, submit to like other people's control for your art. And to me, I'm just like, oh hell no! Like, there is no way,
Say it.
there is no way I would ever be willing to do that. It would be like you both were saying, like indies are art, are like no one has the right to take your art from you
Yeah.
and like to control you and your art. Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, we all have a choice, but like I would much rather choose to remain indie
Yeah.
and not submit to this overarching monopolizing control
Hmm.
Yeah.
that probably has ulterior motives anyway that I don't even agree with. Like,
Hmm.
why would I do that? Why would I want to align myself? I would much rather be poor and indie, whatever, or like not as successful, whatever, as
Hmm.
financially as an indie than join any kind of like, mainstream movement. Like
Absolutely.
it's just not worth it to me. That's just what I was thinking about. I don't think that directly answers the question per se, but that was what was on my mind.
I think it answers the question. I mean, I think I agree. I think control is exactly the right word. It's almost like control versus freedom. And
Mm.
I think if like one of my favorite artists is Kate Bush, and she was primarily, an artist in the 80s. And you go through her music and you look at the credits, and it's written by one person, it's Kate Bush. And you don't have that now. And so it's possible that, let's say 40 years ago, people were artists, musicians were in the mainstream, and they also had their carte blanche. And
Mm.
something shifted where things started to change. And I'm guessing it was probably in the 90s. I mean, I know there was a lot of that manufacturing of music through like teenage pop music, like
Mm.
the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, who were actually brought forth through the same studio and the same man. And a lot of it was a scam. Like he scammed a lot of musicians that way, and that set a, I wish I could remember his name, but that set a template for the modern music that we have today,
Mm.
where it's like, well, it's great that you have your stuff. I don't want to listen to it. I don't care. I'm going to write it. I'm going to have these other people write it. They're going to send it to this person. They're going to do this. There's a chain of command. And so nobody has total control except for the person at the top. And it's like you look at Kate Bush, who is such an icon with music, and her music still stands in terms of popularity. I mean, you look at how crazy everybody got with that one song, running up that hill for
Yeah.
Stranger Things. She wrote that by herself. We don't need 5 people, 10 people to write a song, and it doesn't guarantee the song's going to be popular even if you use 10 people. It's just, I honestly think it's more popular because of their budget and their marketing than just because of their strategy of creating the
Mm.
song. And I think that a lot of songs these days are actually recycled from like the 50s, from the 60s, the 70s, the
I've
80s,
noticed that.
and it's driving me crazy. Like I'm seeing these songs and I'm like, wait a second, I've heard that before. And then
Hmm.
you pull up the original song and it's amazing, right? And it doesn't have all this doctored shit in it. It's not like all auto tune. I mean, that can work too. But like the one that really bothered me was the song Blue. I don't even know who
Yeah.
it's by, but it's like kind of like sounds like an alien wrote the song. It's
Yep.
just super
April
popular.
65.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just like all of a sudden this is now like this original pop song. No, it's not. It's kind of played.
Yeah. Yep.
And like this is all just a farce. It's all just a distraction from the original art. And
Hmm.
I think I don't want to bash hip hop, but I do think that there's a lot of that in the hip hop community. Like specifically, most hip hop songs are launching off of an original song, and they're
Hmm.
just adding rap to it. And I want to see the people who are creating their own beats, who are creating their own melodies, who are actually proving their musicianship. And so I think it's a spirit of control, it's a spirit of jealousy. It's like this dark force in the world that is trying to shut up originality. And I
Hmm.
think it is perpetuated by businessmen who are afraid of trying anything new because there's no predictability. We've gotten so used to looking at the data and looking at the formulas and saying, well, statistically, this is what works. Statistically, we need to write a love song during this time of year in this way. And we can't use these words because people don't like those words. And like we are becoming robots and almost incorporating AI into our art because we're looking at the numbers too much. There's a fear
Hmm.
of risk. There's no more risk in movies there, because that's why we have so many reruns, like so many remakes, so many prequels, so many sequels. We don't want to start anything new, and we don't want to challenge the norm. We don't want to be original anymore. We just want to just guarantee that it'll make money, and money has become the root of everything in art. So I know
Hmm.
I'm rambling, but it's just it just drives me nuts because I always think of Virginia Woolf, who is one of the most respected authors in history of the English language, and she is a self-published author. She
Hmm.
didn't need somebody to go through and cut out half of her pages to say this is not going to be good until you change all of these things. She knew what she was doing, and she has a very original style. And we wouldn't get that original style if she didn't, say, I'm going to do my own thing. And I think that's what we need. We need people who are trailblazers. We need people who are willing to set the stage for something new, something original, and to take the risk. And the challenge is in the establishment. The challenge is I have over 100,000 streams on iTunes, but I make basically nothing doing
Hmm.
it, you know? So what difference does it make? Like I don't do things for money, but I can't get further than that. I can't support myself as an artist, whereas
Yeah.
I could have, let's say, 20 years ago. So it's like you're doing everything for free, and then they have these people who are in the studio system, and sure, they might not have the streams initially, but they will because of the marketing. And it's
Hmm.
all about the marketing campaign. It's all about that budget for their marketing, and I don't have that, right? So it's like, I mean, you have to trudge through the trenches. You have to go to all the shows. You have to go, let's say 4 hours away to a show, and then you're up all night driving home, and then you have to get up the next day for work, or you only have a day off. Like, I mean, it's
Hmm.
it's impossible. It's not impossible, but it is very
Never
hard.
impossible.
Yes, and it slows down the process like a lot. So, mm,
Yeah. No, I'm a big,
Mm.
big believer in a lot of what you said. It's the spirit of control, the
yeah,
spirit of power, and honestly, it stretches beyond just the mainstream. Well, everything's kind of mainstream. Any system that's out there that's already been established is mainstream, and it's what people have accepted. It's what the majority of people have accepted as the true reality. That is what I guess is considered mainstream.
right.
And it's not just the art mainstream and the music mainstream that is working together. It's the entire system.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm going to sound like a radicalist, but it's like all of society was designed, in my opinion, to make people feel dead, to
Hmm.
not want to live, to not want to create. It's like you go through the school system and most people lose their creativity. They
Hmm.
learn to be employees, 9 to 5. You
Yeah.
get that ingrained into you, go off into schools and stuff. I'm not saying that it's all bad. Sure,
Hmm.
there's people that are exceptions to that and people who can maintain it the entire way through. Us included, because I know you and Katie both went through the college process. I did not. But if I was to go to college, what I was going to do anyway was art, because I felt most myself when I was creating stuff and I wanted to carry that on.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because it's all a big thing and society's in on it, it's a lot of mind games because society has accepted this mundane, boring life as the mainstream. And to go against it is to go against the very way of living for so many people. And it's like they got so comfortable with this, it's threatening to them. They're like, well, if you disrupt the system, it means everything's got to change and we're all going to die. And it's like that's the fear response that has been ingrained into so many people, which is why when they look at people who are out there doing their own authentic things, they're like, oh, starving artists, don't be an artist,
Mm-hmm.
don't do these things, we all like to do it, but don't make it your career. And it's like they've ingrained it into society so much that when you talk about being an artist, most people will laugh at you
Mm-hmm.
for wanting to be that as your career. They'll
Right.
be like, you're never going to make it. And it's because of that belief that so many people get stuck. And so a lot of people are suppressing their creative desires, dreams, and then it just dies. And that's a big part of why I jumped into this game, because I was one of those people. I fell into that, okay, well, there's no point in doing this. I lost the purpose of life and I started to chase the things that everybody else says will make you whole. If you just play by this, and this, you'll find, the perfect life and you'll be successful. And it didn't work. It didn't work for me. And the more I tried to fit into that box, the more I just felt like there was no point to life. And I just got to a point where I hit my lowest and I just cried out. And I'm like, there's got to be something more. And this is where I believe in the spiritual aspect of the art and why art is so deeply spiritual in a way, because I cried out and something supernatural encountered me and took me on this journey of self discovery, which now brought me back to the point of reviving my creative dreams. And that's the chapter of my life. I'm continuing to step into that and how it unfolds. And what I'm finding is if you take the chance, if you throw yourself into it, it will continue to unfold and you're not going to fail. If you are out there creating, doing something that you love, it's bringing life back.
Yeah.
Everybody is almost dead in a way, and you can see it in their eyes, in the way that they just walk around. And it's just like what you said, a machine. They want to make us machines.
Mm-hmm.
Machines aren't alive. They don't have to care. They can let society go downhill. They can control it. They can program them in a way.
They
And
can.
it's like, this is where we come in. This is where we're the revolutionaries. We come in, we revive the hearts and the dreams of the people. We show them that what the mainstream has said is always been lies, because you can get somewhere. There are so many people out there that are doing this as a career. Like there are famous indie people that are actually beating the billboards. So
Absolutely.
much to the point where they're hiding the numbers now because they don't want to admit that they've been beaten by an independent artist.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like there are people out there who are making millions by pursuing their dream. And what it has to come to for the shift to come into fruition, I believe, is just enough people to believe. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where we're at, the
Mm.
tipping point. We just need to encourage and empower. And this is the main point of a lot of what I do now, is to encourage and empower creatives. Anybody who is out there that has a dream to create anything. And this is the other stigma. They think that creation, being indie, only applies to books, novels, like things, tangible art or music.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much more than that. It's the business that you want to create. It could
Mm-hmm.
be a supermarket, but you're still creating it.
Yeah.
You're still doing it yourself. It's still an element of creation. Choice at the very minimum is creation. And if you can make a choice, you're creative. And that power alone can lead to so many different choices. Like I said, we've had clowns, doctors on this show. We've had people who have gone in all different creations, and they are creating something. They are creating life. They are creating purpose. They're creating something that is fulfilling and something that is changing the world. And that's what creation does at the bare minimum of everything. You paint something, you've changed the world because now that thing exists.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the power that the control matrix thing doesn't want you to have. Because if you create too much, in their opinion, it will override the whole thing. The blinds will come down, and people will be like, I could do this the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And then that takes out all of those things. And like I said, I'm a radical for this, but that's because I've been to the point where I felt like there was no purpose to this. And I just want to help encourage other creatives to chase the dream. I let my creative spark die and I found it again. And that's how I know you can still find it. If you're out there working your 9 to 5, just going through the motions, you might not even be able just to start and do it right away. But even if you just take a small step towards it and you just have that faith that it will open up, cry out too. There is supernatural. There is a supernatural force. I'm just going to say, this is my belief. There's a supernatural force that will help you and guide you back to it. Because at the core of everything, that creator inside of you mirrors the creator that created everything. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what's meant to shine in your own way because you're the only one that can do it. And so if you feel like you can't do it yourself, cry out. There will be help. Whether it's other people that come alongside of you or something that just drives you and teaches you step by step. There is something that can do it. And I feel like the overwhelming thing is what a lot of people can't get over because of how they've lived their life for so long. Living outside of that comfort zone just feels so overwhelming. And I know it does. And trust me, I'm there. I'm always overwhelmed before I do something new. But I have to remind myself, I just breathe. I'm going to get through it. I just take one step at a time. The path will continue to unfold before me,
Mm-hmm.
and it will for you as well. So that's my encouragement because like you said, I just seen this, and this is where my purpose comes in. This is where I'm driven. I want to see people actually able to believe that they can do these things, and I want to support them. So, yeah, the challenge, there's so many challenges. But I feel like if you can overcome the ones that are holding you back, that are up here, and you can just start, that's going to be enough to push it back. And you can overcome anything. So, yeah, while there might be a lot of challenges to being indie, while you have to be in the trenches and fight your way to the top, you can still get there. And you
Mm-hmm.
can even come alongside other people, and they can come alongside you, and we can all support each other, and we can make it together.
Agreed.
That's my long empowerment of motivation.
I agree completely.
But there's so many wonderful possibilities for indie creators out there. There's so many different things that you can do. Like I said, it's not just limited to paintings, novels, books, music. It's so much more. It's a lifestyle. Like you can create a lifestyle of any kind. And it's a creation. It's an art. It's art, your form of expression that you reveal to the world. So, well, what are you letting stop you? Don't stop. Just do it. Just start. You got this. All right, I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna let one of you guys jump in and say anything else that you want to say because I know we were gonna keep this one shorter.
I just think it's funny how like we were having like a kind of three-way conversation. All of a sudden, I was like, "Wait, I gotta say this."
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I just thought it was funny.
It hits me. It just flows up inside of me, and it's like a passion spark, and it just. And I'll explode if I don't let it out. So, Rachel, did you have any more thoughts?
I agree with everything you're saying. I mean, I think it's funny. I agree that a lot of our culture is fear based, and so much of it is we're just too connected with the external world. We're always thinking about what's out here, like
Hmm.
what time do I have that appointment? Did I finish dinner? Did I do the laundry? All of these things. And I think in our culture we need to normalize stepping back and stepping within ourselves, because that's really what art forces you to do. It forces you to be internal. And if we are internal for a second and we meditate, we can disconnect from our fears, and we can disconnect from the panic mode that we're constantly in to get everything done. And I think that's where inspiration comes from, when
Hmm.
there's not this sense of urgency. And I agree. Like, I think I was talking to a businessman who was complaining about the younger generations, of course, and he was saying how like they're lazy and all this stuff. And he's like, I'm telling you, like, kick them out of the house, they'll just start starving, and once they start starving, then they'll get a job and they'll
Mm,
step up to it. And I thought, and I didn't say it, but I thought, how do you explain starving artists then? Because I've met so many of them, and I've been one of them. I mean, I know what that's like, and I'm not going to go and get a 9 to 5 job that's going to be this permanent career path for me. I mean, I don't even want a 9 to 5 job, but
hmm
I mean, there are people who are not motivated by just this sense of, I have to urgently fulfill these logistical needs constantly. Although those are important, I don't think that they should become like idolized and obsessed over. And you look at some of the Renaissance painters like Botticelli, Leonardo, they were not rich people. Like they would be in, a spare room of a wealthy home, and they would be the patron artist for a time. And then they would contact other families that were wealthy just to try to get their name out there. But these people were not these wealthy people that have these huge mansions like you have these celebrities today. And
Yeah.
I think we need people who are artists that are willing to go through the effort because they believe in it and they care for it, and they are inspired by it, and not by the wrong motivation of just like, I want to be famous and I want to get there as
Mm,
quickly and easily as possible, take all the shortcuts, and I'm going to steal this person's song and then add a rap, whatever to it, and or a pop song or whatever that's easy and cheap to make. And I think we have the tools now. We have the tools.
absolutely.
I mean, I have a whole program that I can do an orchestra part to, even though I don't have an orchestra. So it's like we have the tools. We just have to keep going. And I agree. I think we're at the tipping point. We're right at the edge of where things are going to start changing, because people are getting successful with their indie art.
Yeah.
People are opening up to it, and I think we're embracing that. And yeah, I think we just have to keep going.
Indies definitely have a bright future.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Do you have any extra thoughts?
I just want to share
Yeah.
my poem whenever it's a good time for me to do that.
Yeah, I think with everything that we've covered, we talked about what it means to be indie. We talked about the struggles of being indie.
Yeah.
The resources are out there, like Rachel said. And if you are looking to do like music or write a comic book or novel or anything, you can do a lot of research. Like ChatGPT is a great resource if you're like trying to figure out like the best ways to go about things. You can be like, how do I do this? And it can give you step by steps, like different websites that you can visit. Like there's a bunch of different publishers. Like for comic books, I use Comics Wellspring. Shout out to them. I like them. They do good work. The people who that run it, they're very good at communication, and they're real people, and they care about indies because they're indie creators too. The music programs, you can probably find free ones. There's ones that you can pay fees for, and they'll give you different levels of tools. But for just starting out, you don't always need the best. And
Yeah.
if you're out there looking to start and you don't know where to start, like I said, just type in what you want to do. See what pops up. See what programs are available. YouTube's out there. YouTube can give you tons of tutorials. It's like we have so many things that we can just teach ourselves with, or we can reach out, and there's other people, and a lot of indie people are willing to talk about it too.
Hmm.
There are some that will gatekeep, but for the most part, the indie community is chill. We all want to see each other thrive instead of just have to feel like we need to survive. So if you're out there and you want to become an indie creator, just reach out. If you feel like it's too overwhelming to try to do all the research yourself, just take it slow. Do one step at a time. Even if you just start by thinking of the idea, writing it down, let your creative journey be at your own pace. But don't bottle it up. Like I said, there's never been a better time to be indie. And if you're thinking about doing it, let this be your sign. Take a step. Do it. And I think on that note, yeah, like the future's bright. And I'm excited because Katie has been doing a lot of amazing things. So I actually want to pass it over to Katie to kind of share a little bit about everything that she's doing.
Oh, all right. That was a little bit more than I bargained for, but I've just been having a lot more desire to take more time to release my creativity because I got stopped up for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm currently working on preparing a book of poetry that I hope to publish. I don't know when, but as soon as possible, I guess, with how my crazy life is at the moment, with everything going on, because I still have a 9 to 5 and a son to care for, and a husband to help too. So, it's a lot. And the other day I wrote a poem, and Tanner like really wants me to share it, and I think it might be good for me to do that, to practice. It's been a while. So I'm would like to share that. But Rachel, did you have anything else that you? Okay,
Nope,
I'm sure.
I'm all good.
Making sure. Okay, so let me get my little prop here. The only thing I don't have my jewelry on, but it'll be fine. That's the only thing that's missing. Ideally, I would have my hoop earrings, but they are in the car. All right, so this is a spoken word poem. So just in case any audience members aren't quite sure, well, my understanding of spoken word poetry is poetry that's kind of, especially, it's like kind of best if you read it out loud and like are listening to it being read out loud, as opposed to just reading a poem in a book quietly or silently. So, and I guess they usually have rhyme and rhythm to them, I guess, in a special way. Maybe it's a little bit different than just, you know, regular poems in a book. So, yeah, I guess maybe it's maybe a super brief intro about this poem. Uh, I've been struggling for quite some time, being a mom and working full time. Uh, it's just been really stressful and really hard. Uh, and been super depressed and anxious for a while. And this poem, I think, is one of the most positive creations that I've been able to let out of myself in a very long time. So it makes me excited and
It's good.
happy. And apparently it's not half bad.
It's pretty good.
And I'm hoping I can be a little bit expressive because I'm a little nervous. I haven't done this in a while.
Here,
So.
take center. Sit.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Ah.
All right. Thanks, dear.
Yeah. Oh,
The hat helps, though. I don't know why. I'm channeling my mom energy, I guess. Target. Okay, so I guess I'll just go. This is called Mom Drip. Strutting my mom drip as I take a sip of my matcha latte. I've been going all day, and though it's only Monday, I'm gonna make it through some way. Shining my glamour and glitz from deep inside, I am the Ritz I got wealth Elon don't know about. A well of love with depth to flout the shallow social norms of lip service from chained up hearts. So many afraid to just start what makes them beat heaven's heart. No one knows their heavenly part to play or their heavenly parts. They don't know who they truly are. They don't know they're gleaming stars made by hands of love they're on par with. I'm here to show them the way. I really mostly just pray and do my best knowing someday my best self caught in the fray of life's battles will rise and say, do what you like, hell, you won't have your way. I'm standing solid, no sway. I got roots in love you can't break. So go ahead, raise the stakes. Whatever you throw at me, I'll take and recreate it for love's sake because I got the mom drip. I never get enough sleep. My mind's a mess to upkeep, working my 9 to 5, then home to help my fam thrive. Barely staying alive, but still living, having nothing to give, but still giving, 'cause I'm a drip, drip, drip in love. I got the mom drip. I'm a drip, drip, drip in love. So if you're a mom, join me and turn up the drama, be an identity bomb and throw off the fake comma, embrace your inner Bahama and do what gives you joy, mama. You're free to be your shimmering self. Stop putting you on the back shelf. Let's be a whirlwind of love together. Let's change the cultural weather of self-hatred, no tethers. Let's preen each other's feathers until we're all even better. Live in those 3 indelible letters, 'cause we hold love at our center. We never get enough sleep, our minds a mess to upkeep, working our 9 to 5s, then home to help our fams thrive, barely staying alive, but still living, having nothing to give but still giving, 'cause we're a drip, drip, drip in love. We got the mom drip. We're a drip, drip, drip in love. Oh. I totally forgot about this.
I
That
had to
was
reset it.
I'm sorry, what was that, Rachel?
I said that was awesome.
Oh, thanks.
So good.
Yeah.
You have to put that online. You've got to put it
That's
on.
what Tanner said. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
A
This
lot
is
of
the
people.
beginning of content creator Katie.
Mm.
That's perfect place to start, Katie. That's awesome. That was amazing.
Oh, thanks.
I love the rhythm of it so much, and the
think that's
personality. It just had so much
yeah.
personality to it. So
Oh,
yeah.
yay. Oh, good.
I
Good to
definitely think
hear.
that's a good encouragement too to the people out there that are just looking to start but feel overwhelmed. So,
For sure.
especially the moms.
Well, yeah. I definitely think you've got to set up a TikTok or an Instagram or something and put that up.
Can you help me with that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I already told you I would.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about this because Katie's like, I want to do all these content creation things. I'm like, yeah. Like, just tell me. I'll help you. If you want me to edit them, I can do the editing. Like, I'm base level at this kind of stuff. I can do base level editing and things. But like I said, the skills are out there. Resources are out there. CapCut, good editing thing for anybody who wants to be content creators. Free, has lots of resources for being free. So, okay. No, I'm super excited. See, I've known about this for a couple weeks now. I'm like, we're gonna be hearing a lot more from you.
I look forward to it.
Rachel, before we end, tell us, I guess, what have you been working on? Do you have anything that you want to plug?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm working on my novel. It's coming along, but it's a little bit later than I expected, so I'm not going to tell you when it's going to come out until I'm ready to know for certain. But I do have a novel in the works, and it is. I feel it's good, and you can check out the first chapter on elegantbomb.com. And I am working on an album right now. I actually am thinking of setting up a TikTok to actually start to promote myself with my music, which I've never done before. So I played around with it once, but I don't know. Social media is just, chaotic. So we'll see. That'll probably come up soon. I think my TikTok name is The Elegant Bomb, but I'm not totally sure. But yeah, so, stay tuned for all of that stuff.
That's super exciting.
Thank
And
you.
did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about your book or anything?
I don't think so. Um, yeah, I think I already. I mean, yeah. Well, I guess if you're new to the episode, like to our podcast, and you hadn't watched any of the previous ones, I'm also working on a graphic novel storyline. Jane Austen meets anime, which I'm super excited about. It has lots of characters, and I hope it's okay to say I don't want to sound like too high and mighty, but like a pretty good plot. I think. Pretty sure. Uh, and it I'm still working on like the artist end of things because not I don't know graphic art, but so I'm figuring that out. But as far as like, the storyline goes, that's all me. And that's been really fun to work on. So yeah, that's the other writing project that I'm working on in addition to my book of poetry.
Yeah, lots.
And I'll keep people posted. So I'm just trying to practice.
Go for it. Do it.
Keep people posted with as I delve more into the content creation with where to find me and when I have things posted and whatnot.
Hopefully that'll be by the next episode. We'll have something to report on that.
Oh, that's a good goal.
Yeah. I'm here to help. I'll make sure she gets it done. Yes, a lot of amazing projects from these two amazing people. So definitely check them both out. I have one update. We have issue 2 of Number 2 Pencil Man just about finished. There's maybe 1 or 2 more pages left to do. So we'll probably have it done within this week. And then off to the publisher. We're aiming for mid-May to... There's a specific con that I'm thinking about doing as my launch party, and that is Thy Geekdom Con here in Pennsylvania, outside the greater Philly area at the Oaks Convention Center. I believe that's the It's the week of, is it Memorial Day or Labor Day? It's Memorial Day. We're in May.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So it will be Memorial Day weekend here in Pennsylvania. That is, I believe, the launch of issue 2. And I've seen most of the pages for issue 2 already, and I gotta say, it's better than issue 1. I'm super excited for this, and yeah, it's been a long time. Frae's been doing a great job. He's been balancing a lot. He's got his 2 9 to 5s essentially. He works almost 13-hour days almost every day. So he's been working very hard to get it done. So I gotta also say I have to show a great deal of appreciation and respect to him, because without him, this whole project would not be possible. It would just be my cheesy, low quality YouTube video that I did about 2 years ago on my YouTube channel, and maybe just written down on paper. But no, he's brought it to life. The art is so amazing. This one's going to be bigger, more expressive. All the characters are going to be so much more expressive. The plot, I think, really picks up, and it's everything I envisioned it to be when I originally came up with the idea for Number 2 Pencil Man's origin story. So yeah, I'm super excited. That should be out by the end of this month. Maybe by next time I can share a brief sneak peek with everybody. I just want to wait till it's all finished first, and then maybe I can do like a reveal for you guys of watching the podcast. Yeah, and then after that, we'll have a children's book too at some point, which I don't think will take as long for everything to get formatted and published. So yeah, those
Awesome.
are the main projects I've been working on. Um, So yeah, definitely be sure to check us all out. We have our socials linked in the description of the episode, and this is where we're going to end this episode. So if you do like our show, be sure to like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're listening on the audio platform, please be sure to follow the podcast, give us a rating if you would like to. Helps us get out there so we can build this platform for other indie creators. If you are an indie creator out there who wants the spotlight shown,
Shown. Yeah,
shown,
that's fine. I
thank
think.
you guys,
Yeah.
on your indie works, and you want a platform to come on and just talk about it, reach out to us. We have had so many amazing guests, like I said before, and some of them have reached out to us. Sometimes we reach out to you guys. So if you guys want to be featured on, feel free, just reach out. Most of the times I'm the one who handles that. That's on our Dreamscape Empyrean uh, social media accounts, and we'll have that linked below as well. But feel free, reach out. We'll get you on the show. We'd love to have you, love to spotlight your stuff and get you out there as much as we can. We're still growing, so it's a small platform, but it's something. And it's one way we can help you guys get out there. Like we were talking in this episode, it's all about support and belief. And so we're here to at least do the support part and help encourage belief. So yeah, hit us up. And on that note, this episode is now over. So thank you guys again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time, hopefully with a full crew and a special guest. So we'll see you later. Bye bye.
Bye.